Hello everyone, this is Vamshi Janampalli, a qualified chartered accountant. Today we quickly recapitulate the chapter capital gains. The chapter capital gains starts from section 45 to 55A. That is, if you understand the section 45 to 55A, the chapter capital gains is done. As you are aware, every head of income will be having a charging section which direct the assessee whether to include the income under specificate or not. For the purpose of chapter capital gains, the charging section will be section 45 subsection 1. Section 45 subsection 1. Now, what section 45 subsection 1 says is any profits any profits or gains any profits or gains arising from any profits or gains arising from transfer of transfer of capital asset capital asset shall be chargeable under this head shall be chargeable under this head. Now here, if an income to be included under the head capital gains, there should be two conditions. Two conditions. One condition is there must be a capital asset, and one more is the capital asset must be transferred. Capital asset, there must be a capital asset, and the capital asset must be transferred. When the capital asset is transferred, whatever the profits and gains arising from such transfer shall be chargeable to tax under the head capital gains. Now, we need to understand what is capital asset and what is transfer. The meaning of capital asset has been given under section 2, subsection 14. The meaning of transfer has been given under section 2, subsection 47. Okay, we quickly understand what is the meaning of capital asset and transfer. Then we get back to the charging section. The meaning of capital asset. Capital asset. 2, subsection 14. The section 2 subsection 14 is having two clauses. Clause 1 is any property held by held by held by assessee whether or not connected with business or profession. Any property held by the assessee whether or not connected with business or profession. Clause 1. Then clause 2 is any securities held by foreign institutional investor any securities held by foreign institutional investor in accordance with SEBI regulations. SEBI regulations. Now, first we understand class 2, then we come back to class 1. See, sir, what is foreign institutional investor? Foreign institutional investor is a fund established outside India. Established outside India, and investing such amounts in Indian companies. In Indian companies, in accordance with SEBI regulations. In accordance with SEBI regulations. We understand this concept with an example. For example, Citibank USA and American Bank also USA. Now, Citibank USA and American Bank USA want to invest in Indian companies. Say Reliance, which is trading on Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, can Citibank USA or American Bank USA invest into the Reliance directly? The question is, Reliance shares are trading on Bombay Stock Exchange in India. Now, Citibank USA, which is incorporated in USA, and American incorporated in USA want to invest into Reliance shares. Can Citibank or American Bank invest into Reliance directly? The answer is no. In that case, what these two do is they incorporate a fund. They incorporate a fund. Then these two accumulate the fund, and the fund invest into the Reliance shares, and the fund invest into the Reliance shares in accordance with SEBI regulations. Now whatever the securities of Reliance, held by this foreign institutional investor, it treated as capital asset. Clear till now? Yeah. Now, any property held by SSE, whether or not connected with business or profession. I want to take a simple example here. Mr. A, Mr. A, Mr. A is owner of building in Delhi. In the first case, Mr. A is using this building for residential purpose. That question is when the question is whether this building is a capital asset or not. Read the definition very clearly. Whether or not connected with business or profession, which means even the capital asset used for personal purpose, it is treated as it fall into the even the property used for personal purpose, it is treated as capital asset. In the second case, Mr. A is using this building for business purpose, and of course, it will form into the definition of capital asset. The definition is any property held by the assessee, whether or not connected with business or profession. Then, exceptions to exceptions to clause 1. Clause 1. What is this, sir? The following are the assets not fall into the definition of capital asset. I said any property held by the assessee, whether or not connected with the business or profession, is treated as capital asset. But following are the assets shall not part of the definition of capital asset. What are those? First one is stock in trade. Simple. Stock in trade shall not fall into the definition of capital gains. For example, Mr. A is doing a trading a business and holding stock in trade. For stock in trade, when Mr. A is selling this stock in trade in the course of business, it is not treated as capital asset. Understood? Yeah. Now come to class B ones. I said here any securities held by the foreign institutional investor. Now foreign institutional investor, after holding this Reliance shares, what the foreign institutional investor do is it will trade with the securities, which means the foreign institutional investor is holding these securities in the form of stock in trade. The act says that even the securities held by the foreign institutional investor in the form of stock in trade, it fall into the definition of capital asset, which means stock in trade is not a capital asset. But when the security is held by the foreign institutional investor, even in the nature of stock in trade, is treated as capital asset. Then point 2, personal effects. That is movable assets used for personal purpose by assessee or any of the family member. Understood, sir? Personal effects, that is movable assets used for personal purpose. By the assessee or any of the family member. Now what is movable assets? I'll take a simple example here. Mr. A is having AC in his residence. or furniture in his residence, or TV, or etc. These are movable assets, and these movable assets are used by Mr. A in his residence. That is for personal purpose. Movable assets for personal purpose, not treated as capital asset. Not treated as capital assets. Therefore, when Mr. A is selling this TV, Mr. A is selling to Mr. B TV which is in his residence shall not be treated as capital asset. Understood? Yes. Now, same AC, furniture, TV, etc. Movable assets, AC, furniture, etc. Movable assets used by Mr. A for the purpose of business. For the purpose of business, which means not for the purpose of personal, not for personal purpose, rather he is using for business purpose. In this case, if we sell AC to Mr. B, it fall into the definition of capital asset. It fall into the definition of capital asset because these movable assets are not used by Mr. A for personal purpose. He is using for business purpose. Therefore, the ACA furniture or movable assets fall into the definition of capital asset. Understood till here? Come to the definition once again. Personal effects. Personal effects, that mean movable assets used for personal purpose. This is most important area. Used for personal purpose by assessee or any of the family member. Any of the family member. For example, Mr. A. Mr. A bought a car. Bought a car, but the car is being used by Mr. B, son of Mr. A. Son of Mr. A. Understood? That is it. It is movable asset. The car is bought by Mr. A, but the car is being used for personal purpose by Mr. B, who is son of Mr. A. Now the question arises is when Mr. A transfers a car, that is sells the car, will it fall into the definition of capital asset? See the definition. Personal effects used for personal purpose, whether by assessee or any of the family member. Now you need to understand what is who are covered under family member. Family member. Family member. Family member covers spouse, lineal ascendants, that is children's, sorry, lineal descendants, not ascendants. Lineal descendants, that is children, brother or sister, brother or sister, and lineal ascendants, that is parents. Who are covered under the definition of family members, sir? First one is spouse, lineal descendants, that is children of the individual, brother or sister of individual, and parents of individual. In this case, if the car is being used by spouse or children or brother or sister of A or parents of A, it will not come into the definition of capital asset. Understood? Personal effects used for personal purpose. Personal effects used for personal purpose, either by assessee or by family member, shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. Shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. Understood till here, right? Now, I said personal effects that have been used for personal purpose, either by assessee or family member, shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. It is conclusion. Now, there are some exclusions. There are some exclusion for this point, which means the following are the movable assets. The following are the personal effects, even used for personal purpose. Even used for personal purpose fall into the definition of capital asset. What is the meaning of what is the main heading, sir? Personal effect, if it is used for personal purpose, shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. But these are the assets, these are the personal effect, even if it is used for personal purpose, even it is used for personal purpose, shall fall into the definition of capital asset. What are those? First one is jewelry, second one is archaeological collections, archaeological collections, third one is drawings, drawings, fourth one is paintings, paintings, fifth one is sculptures, sculptures, sixth one is any work of art, any work of art, which means these are the personal effects, these are the personal effects, even it is used for personal purpose shall fall into the definition of capital asset. I'll give some example. Mr. A bought a jewelry, bought jewelry for Mrs. A, for Mrs. A. Okay, Mr. A bought jewelry for Mrs. A for wearing, right? That is for personal purpose. Now Mr. A is selling this jewelry to Mr. B. Mr. B, whether this jewelry fall into the definition of capital asset or not? The answer is 100% yes. Answer is 100% yes, because these are the personal effects. Even if it is used for personal purpose, even it is used for personal purpose shall fall into the definition of capital asset. Even in the case of drawings and paintings, sculptures, archaeological collections, even these are used for personal purpose, but when these are transferred shall fall into the definition of capital asset, and if any profits or gains shall be chargeable to tax. Now I just want to give some cases here. Cases. Case 1, silver utensils, silver silver utensils used in the residence, silver utensils used in the residence. Silver utensils means glasses, plates. Okay, silver utensil made of silver, silver utensils used in the residence shall, whether these silver utensils fall into the definition of capital asset or not? The answer is no. What about gold utensils? Gold utensils, the answer is yes. The income tax has been, the income tax has given some exception for silver utensils. That means if you use silver utensils in home and you are transferring such silver utensils and transferring silver utensils, it shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. However, if the gold utensils are used in the resident, shall fall into the definition of capital asset. Next one. What about bullion? Bullion means biscuits, gold bars, and silver bars. Yes, shall be shall fall into the definition of capital asset. See, sir, silver utensils used for residence shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. Even these silver utensils are transferred shall not fall into the definition of capital asset and not liable for capital gains. Gold utensils fall into the definition of capital assets, and bullion, gold bar, silver bar shall fall into the definition of capital asset. Understood? We quickly revise till now. Capital gains. The charging section is 45 subsection. What 45 subsection 1 says is any profits and gains arising from transfer of a capital asset shall be chargeable to tax under the head capital gains. In that process, we are understanding the meaning of capital asset. The meaning of capital asset has been given under section 2, subsection 14. The section is in two parts. Class 1, any property held by the assessee, whether or not connected with the business or profession, and any securities held by the foreign institutional investor in accordance with SEBI regulations. Now, the following are the assets which are not following under the definition of capital asset. First one is stock in trade. Stock in trade is not a capital asset. Second one, personal effects. Personal effects, if it is used for personal purpose either by assessee or any of the family member, shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. However, the following are the personal effects. Even if it is used for personal purpose, The following are the personal effects. Even if it is used for personal purpose, shall fall into the definition of capital assets. What are those? Jewelry, archaeological connections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, or any other work of art. Now, third point. We completed 2 points here: stock in trade and personal effects. Now, third point. Third point. Third point is agriculture land. Agriculture land. Agriculture land. Now, which agriculture land, sir? Which agriculture land, sir? Which agriculture land does not fall into the definition of capital asset is rural agriculture land. Rural agriculture land. Rural agriculture land does not fall into the definition of capital asset. Then what is the meaning of rural agriculture land? Income tax act has not given the meaning of rural agriculture land, but given the meaning of urban agriculture land. Urban agriculture land, and said whatever the agriculture land other than urban agriculture land is rural agriculture land. Now we understand what is the urban agriculture land. Any agriculture, first one, any agriculture land within the limits of within the within the limits of within the limits of municipality 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 or cantonment board cantonment board having population having population having population exceeding 10,000. What is this clause is saying, sir? Any agricultural land within the limits of municipality or cantonment board having population more than 10,000, which means, see, this is GHMC municipality area having, of course, more than 10,000 population. Understood, sir? My agricultural land is situated here. My agricultural land is situated here. Therefore, it is treated as urban agriculture land. Urban agriculture land. Urban agriculture land. Any municipality or cantonment board having population more than 10,000, right? If my land situated within limits of such municipality or cantonment board, it is treated as urban agriculture land. Now, point 2. Next case is, this is GHMC municipality area. Of course, population is more than 10,000. Now, in this case, my agriculture land not situated within the municipality limits, but outside the limits. Oh, what happened? To determine this agriculture land, whether it is rural agriculture land or urban agriculture land, we need to go through some grades. See now. For example, population, population, population and distance. Population and distance. For example, the population of GHMC, the population of GHMC is exceeding 10,000, but up to 1 lakh. But up to 1 lakh. If my agricultural land situates within 2 kilometers, that is less than or equal to 2 kilometers, then it is treated as urban agricultural land. We discussed clearly. If the population of GHMC exceeds 1 lakh, but up to 10 lakhs, then if the agricultural land situates within 6 kilometers, it is treated as urban agriculture. If the population of GHMC exceeds 10 lakhs, the agricultural land within the distance of 8 kilometers treated as urban agriculture land. Simple. See, sir. Case 1. GHMC, my agricultural land. For example, GHMC population is 50,000. It is a case 1. I am giving example for case 1. Now, my agricultural land is having distance of 3 kilometers from the limits of GHMC. Now tell me whether it is fall into the definition of urban agricultural land or not. What is saying? Population exceeding 10,000 but up to 1 lakh. Yes, it falls into the definition of first case. The agricultural land to be urban agricultural land, my land should be situated within 2 kilometers from the limits of urban agricultural land. But my land is 3 kilometers far away from the limits of GHMC. The land should be within 2 kilometers from the limits of GHMC. But my agricultural land is 3 kilometers away from the limits of GHMC. Therefore, it is not urban agricultural land. Therefore, it is not urban agricultural land, which I can say it is rural agriculture land. Understood, sir? Yes. In the second case, in the second case, in the second case, GHMC population is 2 lakhs and agriculture land is 5 kilometers far away from the limits of GHMC. Now tell me whether it is fall into the definition of urban agriculture land or not. When the population is more than 1 lakh but up to 10 lakh, the agriculture land shall be within limits of 6 kilometers. The agriculture land shall be within 6 kilometers. But my agriculture land is within 5 kilometers itself. Within 5 kilometers, which means it is treated as urban agriculture land. Urban agriculture land. Right? Now, point 3. GHMC population is more than 25 lakhs and my agriculture land is 9 kilometers far away from the limits. Now tell me whether it is fall into the definition of urban agriculture land. No, it is not a urban agriculture land. Right? To fall into the definition of urban agriculture land, it should be within 8 kilometers, right? But my agriculture land is 9 kilometers far away from the limits of GHMC. Therefore, it is not a urban agriculture land. That is, I can say it is a rural agriculture land. Rural agriculture land. Therefore, it is not a capital asset. Understood, right? Rural agriculture land is not a capital asset. Now, I said we discussed some terms here. First one is population, then limits from the municipality, limits from the municipality, limits from municipality, limits from municipality, and third one is distance. Now, okay, sir, you said population has to be considered to determine whether the land is rural agriculture land or urban agriculture land. Then which population has to take it? Which population has to take it? The population shall be in accordance with census, in accordance with census, which have been which have been published, which have been published by the government, by the government before 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 first day of the before first day of relevant previous year, relevant previous year. For example, I want to take an example here. My financial year starting from 2019-20, that is 1st April 2019. Okay, central government has been published two census. One is 28 March 2019 and one more is 1st May 2019. Now, as per 23rd May, the population is 20 lakhs, and as per 1st May, the population is 20 lakhs 20,000. Now, tell me which population has to consider here, whether it is 1st May or 28th May. What here giving? Census have been published by the government, yes, before the first day of the relevant previous year. What is the first day, sir? 1st April. Whatever the census that has been published before the 1st April has to consider. That is 28th March has to consider, not 1st May. Understood, sir? Yes. Now, I said you understood what is the meaning of population. Now we need to understand what is the meaning of distance. 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 Now, distance to be seen from the municipality. Distance to be seen from the municipality. Distance to be measured, I can say, to be measured. Straight line. Straight line. Straight line. Aerially. Aerially as bird flies. Bird flies and not by road method. I want to give a simple example here. This is the limits of GHMC. The population is 50,000. Now, now I need to consider the distance, right? My agricultural land is situated here. My agricultural land is situated here. If from the limits of municipality, if you want to come to my agricultural land, the road method is like that. The road method is like this, and it's cost around 8 kilometers. 18 kilometers, sorry. And if the straight line as bird flies, it is around 4 kilometers. 4 kilometers. Now, tell me, sir, which one to consider? Whether it is by road method or as by straight line as bird flies. The answer is straight line as per bird flies from the limits of municipality. Understood, sir? Yes. Now you understood the meaning of distance. You understood the meaning of distance, and you also understood the meaning of population. Now you need to understand the meanings of limits of municipality. Limits of municipality is what, sir? The limit starts from the shortest aerial distance. Shortest aerial distance. You should not consider, even this is also limit of municipality. You should not consider like this. You should consider shortest aerial distance. Shortest aerial distance. Shortest aerial distance. Not from longest one. Okay. Now you understood distance, municipal limits, and population. Now you know what is rural agricultural land. We quickly revise once. Rural agricultural land is not a capital asset. Simple. Then what is the rural agricultural land, sir? Income tax act has not given the meaning of rural agricultural land. Rather, it has given the meaning of urban agricultural land. Now, what is the urban agricultural land, sir? If my agricultural land situates within the limits of municipality or cantonment board having population exceeding 10,000, of course, it is a urban agricultural land. Now, when my agricultural land is situated outside India, when agricultural land situated outside limits of municipality, then you need to come to grade concept. When the population of municipality or cantonment is between 10,000 to 1 lakh, my agricultural land is treated as urban if it is located within 2 kilometers from the limits of municipality. Now when the population is exceeding 1 lakh but up to 10 lakhs, the agriculture land is treated as a urban if it is located within the limits of 6 kilometers. And of course, if it exceeds 10 lakhs, my agriculture land is treated as urban if it is located within 8 kilometers from the limits of municipality. Understood, sir? Yes. Now, question arises is now this is GHMC limits and my agriculture land. It is urban agriculture land. It is urban agriculture land. Now we understood that urban agriculture land is a capital asset. Urban agriculture land is a capital asset. Urban agriculture land is a capital asset. And therefore, when you transfer this capital asset, you shall be liable for capital gains. Liable for capital gains. Understood? Now, the assessee is contending that whatever the income that has been accrued on account of transfer of this capital asset shall fall into the definition of agricultural income. ऐसा कैसा होता है? To subsection 1A, there is one section, the meaning of urban, the meaning of agriculture income, the meaning of agriculture income. What agriculture income says, sir? Okay, the assessee is contending that whatever the capital gains arising from such capital asset shall fall into the definition of agriculture income. The income CBDT, Central Board of Direct Tax, came with a notification stating that whatever the capital gains arising from transfer of urban agricultural land shall not fall into the definition of agriculture income. Simple. Next, we completed 3 points here. 3 points here, no, sir? First one is stock in trade is not treated as a capital asset. Then personal effect used for personal purpose. Then third one is rural agriculture land. Rural agriculture land is not a capital asset. Then fourth one, 6 point, sorry, 6.5% gold bonds, and national defense gold bonds, national defense gold bonds, national defense gold bonds, national defense gold bonds issued by the central government shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. Shall not fall into the definition of capital asset. Therefore, even the assessee holding these securities, that is 6.5% gold bonds and national defense gold bonds, which shall not be liable for capital gains. In the similar way, fifth one, special bearer bonds, special special bearer bonds, of course issued by central government, will not fall into the definition of capital asset. Then gold deposit bond, gold deposit bonds, gold deposit bonds issued under gold deposit gold deposit scheme, gold deposit scheme, or deposit certificates, deposit certificates under gold monetization scheme, monetization scheme. These are not much important, but just to complete the section we understood this. Now we are trying to understand the meaning of capital asset. What is capital assets? Are any property held by assessee whether or not connected with business or profession. Class 1. Class 2 is any security held by the foreign institutional investor. Further, there are some exceptions. That means the following are not treated as capital assets. First one is stock in trade. Stock in trade is not a capital asset. Then personal effects used for personal purpose is not capital asset. Then third one, rural agriculture land. Rural agriculture land is not treated as a capital asset. Then 6.5, 6.5% gold bonds issued by the central government and national defense gold bonds issued by the central government, and of course special bearer bonds issued by the central government. Then gold deposits bond issued under gold deposit scheme or deposit certificate issued under gold monetization scheme. With this, the meaning of capital asset is done. That is, we completed section 2, subsection 14. To subsection 14. To subsection 14. Now, we understood the meaning of capital asset. Now, we need to understand meaning of transfer. That is to subsection 47. To subsection 47. Now, section 247 says that the following are treated as transfer. Simple. Now, what are those following? We need to understand. Point one: sale, exchange, sale or exchange or relinquishment. Relinquish, relinquishment of asset. What is sales are simple. Mr. A is owner of building. Mr. A is owner of building, selling to Mr. B. It's a simple transaction. It is treated as transfer. It is a simple sale transaction. Then exchange. Exchange means Mr. A is a owner of building. Is owner of building. Is owner of building. Selling this building to Mr. B. Mr. B in consideration of plot of land. Plot of land. In the first case, Mr. B is given consideration in rupees. It's a simple sale transaction. But in second case, Mr. B is exchanging his building with a plot of land. Right? Exchange. Then what is relinquishment, sir? Relinquishment means it's a destroy. For example, Mr. A is the owner of building, same example, and his building got destroyed due to earthquake. Due to earthquake. Even it is treated as transfer. Transfer. Understood, sir? Yes. We understand why destruction also treated as transfer. In further classes, we understand very much clearly. Point one is done. Sale, exchange, and relinquishment. Relinquishment is simple means destruction. Destruction. Then point two. Point two is extinguishment of extinguishment of extinguishment of any right. Extinguishment of any right. For example, Mr. A is a person. Mr. A is a person. Is having a right. Is having a right on a platform. On a platform to keep his shop. To keep his shop. On a platform of road, Mr. A is having right. Mr. A is having right to keep his shop on the platform. Okay, and Mr. B came to Mr. A and said, "You transfer me this right, I will give you amount." And now Mr. B bought the right to keep his shop at the platform, which means Mr. A transferred his right to keep his shop at platform. It is simple, nothing but extinguishment of right. Then point four. Point four is compulsory acquisition. Compulsory acquisition. Compulsory acquisition under any law. Simple, sorry, it is. You know already Hyderabad Metro. Hyderabad Metro. Many shops on the road. Many shops on the road got distracted. Got distracted. Which means, for example, Mr. A is having his shop on the road of Amirpet. On the road of Amirpet. Now, Telangana government is acquiring its shop to build metro pillar. Which means whatever the shop held by the Mr. A is compulsory acquired by the government of Telangana. Understood, right? Which means compulsory acquisition under any law. Right? Yes, sir. Point five. Point five. Conversion of capital asset. capital asset into stock in trade. For example, Mr. A is having a plot of land. Is having a plot of land. Having a plot of land. Now, Mr. A is starting a real estate business. Real estate business. Real estate business. Now, Mr. A is having a plot of land. It is a capital asset. It is a capital asset in the hands of Mr. A. Right? Yes. Now, when Mr. J starts real estate business, he want to transfer this plot of land into stock in trade. Want to, sorry, want to transfer this plot of land into stock in trade to sell in the course of real estate business, which means conversion of capital asset into stock in trade is also treated as transfer. We come across every situation in detail in further classes. But for to understand simply what is the meaning of transfer, we just quickly understand these classes. Now, class six, class six, maturity or redemption of zero coupon bond. Maturity or redemption of zero coupon bond. What is zero coupon bond, sir? Zero coupon bonds means these bonds shall not owe any interest. For example, Government of India came with came with zero coupon bonds. Zero coupon bonds. Zero coupon bonds. Each zero coupon bond is having a face value of 1,000 rupees. Generally, bonds will be holding interest rate 5% interest or 6% interest, 10% interest, okay. Which means when such kind of bonds issued by the issuer shall be liable for payment of interest. What happens in zero coupon bonds is the face value is 1,000 rupees. What issuer does is the issuer issues such bonds at discounts. For example, the zero coupon bond having face value of 1,000 rupees. Now Government of India issues these bonds at 900 rupees. At 900 rupees. The time period is 3 years, and at the time of maturity or redemption, the holder of zero coupon bond will receive a sum of 1,000 rupees. That's it. During this period, no interest payments. During this period, no interest payments. No interest payments. Understood? Zero coupon bonds are the bonds that are issued at discount. And redeemed at face value. Whatever is the difference, that is rupees 100, what that is 100 rupees, is the income for the holder. Is the income for the holder of such bonds. There won't be any interest payments. That is the reason why zero coupon bond. Coupon means interest. No coupon. Then you understand. Then what is this maturity or redemption of zero coupon bond, also treated as transfer. Then seven is any transaction, any transaction, any transaction involving the allowing of allowing of allowing of possession of immovable immovable property immovable property in part performance in part performance in part performance of contract referred referred in section referred in section 53A of transfer of transfer of property act 1882. Don't scare it. It's a simple example. That's it. Now Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A and Mr. B entered into a contract. What is the contract? Mr. A want to sell a building. Sell a building in consideration of rupees 50 lakhs. Rupees 50 lakhs. Now what happened? Mr. B given a advance of rupees 10 lakhs. Mr. B given a advance of 10 lakhs, and Mr. A has given the possession to Mr. B. Possession to Mr. B. Then it is treated as transfer. Simple, sir. Allowing the possession of capital asset, allowing the possession of capital asset in part to performance. Here not full payment made, right? It's a part to performance of the contract, but the building has been given into the possession of Mr. B. Therefore it is treated as transfer. Understood, sir? Any transaction involving allowing the possession of capital asset, that is immovable property. Allowing the possession of immovable property in part of performance of the contract, referred under section 53A of transfer of property act. Understood, sir? Now point 8. any transaction any transaction any transaction which has the effect of transferring or enabling enjoyment of immovable property. We understand with a simple example again. Now there is X residential society. X residential society. X residential society having villas. All the villas is in the owner of X residential society. Now Mr. A want to buy this flat A, and the consideration is rupees 50 lakhs. Now what will happen, sir? Mr. A given rupees of 50 lakhs to X residential society and taken the possession of flat A. But even though the possession is in the hands of Mr. A, the registered owner of the flat is still residential society itself. Now what is the ownership of Mr. A, sir? Now what residential society is? Residential society gives a ownership certificate or share of society. Share of society. What happened here? Mr. A is given a payment for buying a flat, villa A. Mr. A also taken the possession of A, but still the registered owner is residential society itself. But Mr. A has been allotted share of society. Now what happens, sir? Mr. A want to sell this villa to Mr. B. Mr. B. Sir, see, sir, Mr. A is not a registered owner. But in lieu of that, he is holding share of society. Now, if Mr. A want to sell this villa to Mr. B, what he has to do? He has to sell this share. Understood, sir? Now, Mr. B has given rupees of 60 lakhs to Mr. A, and the share certificate has been given to Mr. B. Now the owner of Villa A is Mr. B. Now understand this. Any transaction, what is the transaction here is transaction is sale of share of society. Any transaction which has the effect of transferring or enabling enjoyment of immovable property. What happened here? The transaction involves sale of share of certificate, share of society. But what is the effect in background? Sale of immovable property. This is also treated as transfer. Understood, sir? Yes. Super. Now we understood what is the meaning of capital asset and also what is the meaning of transfer. We quickly recapitulate once what is the capital asset and transfer. Capital asset. Capital asset is having two classes. Any property held, whether or not connection with business or profession, and any securities held by the foreign institutional investor. However, the following are not a capital asset. First one, stock in trade is not a capital asset. Personal effects used for personal purpose shall not be treated as capital assets. However, the following are the items, even the following are the personal effects, even used for personal purpose, even used for personal purpose shall be treated as capital assets. What are those? Are jewelry, archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, any work of art. Even these are used for personal purpose. Even used for personal purpose shall fall into the definition of capital asset. Then third one, sir. Third one is rural agricultural land. Rural agricultural land is not a capital asset. Rural agricultural land is not a capital asset. Then we understood 6.5 gold, 6.5% gold bonds, national defense gold bonds, special bearer gold bonds, and gold deposits bonds or gold certificates issued under gold monetization scheme are capital assets. Sorry. Understood? Now, what is transfer? Transfer. The following are treated as transfer. First one, sale. Simple sale transaction is treated as transfer. Then exchange of assets, exchange of capital assets, exchange of capital assets also treated as transfer. Then relinquishment. Relinquishment means destruction, also treated as capital asset. Then extinguishment. In this case, Mr. A forgone his right to keep his shop on the platform. Extinguishment of right is also treated as transfer. Then compulsory acquisition. Compulsory acquisition is also treated as transfer. Then conversion of capital asset into stock in trade. Into stock in trade is also treated as transfer. Then maturity or redemption of zero coupon bonds is also treated as transfer. Then any transaction involving allowing the possession of immovable property in part to performance. In part to performance is treated as transfer. Any transaction which has the effect of transferring or enabling the enjoyment is treated as transfer. Okay, sir. Till now, we completed the meaning of transfer and capital asset.